to Chapter 1, Section 3, so properties of operations. You'll learn more properties next year in Algebra 1, but for this year, we're just going to focus on 5 of them. Now, these first 4 are different. Well, these first 4 apply to both addition and multiplication. This last one is just about multiplication. That's why it extends and doesn't have this bar right here. But I'm just going to show an example of them, and I think that'll help explain what they are. So associative could look like this. 3 plus 4 in parentheses plus 2 is equal to 3 plus 4 plus 2 in parentheses. So if you notice, it's the exact same numbers on both sides. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2. They're in the exact same order on both sides. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2. The key with this is the parentheses. What this property tells you is that you can move the parentheses to different areas, or you can group things differently, and it doesn't change the answer. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. So we can group things differently by moving the parentheses around, and it doesn't change. Think about the word associative. Sounds like associate. The people you associate with are the people you group up with. The people you associate with tend to be your friends. The people you associate with at lunch are the ones you sit with. Those at your table are a group. So that's what the associative property means. And it works for addition. It also works for multiplication. So as long as all you're doing is just addition or just multiplication, then it's the associative property. Now the commutative property says something more like this. If you notice, this has the same numbers, 5, 7, 2, 5, 7, 2, but it has them in a different order. So commutative is about order. It's saying you can change the order. It can be the same forwards and backwards. So I could have done 5, 7, 2 and then 2, 7, 5, or I could just switch the 5 from the front to the back. The point is that you can go in any order and it'll give you the same result. If I do 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 2 is 14, 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 5 is 14. You see, it doesn't matter what order I add them in, I still get the same result. And the same is true with multiplication. 5 times 7 is 35, 7 times 5 is also 35. So the commutative, which if you think about the word commute, you commute to school. Your parents commute to their work. What that means is you go from home to work or school, and then from work or school back home. Usually, not always, you're taking the same route, and it's the same amount of miles, but you're going in opposite directions. Because one time you're going to school, away from home, in the afternoons you're going away from school to home. So commutative is saying if all you're doing is adding, or all you're doing is multiplying, the order doesn't matter. Now identity, what identity says is if you add 0, it changes nothing. I know, really insightful and helpful. The point is what you start with and what you end with are identical. Adding 0 does not change the identity of the number. And just like adding 0 changes nothing, multiplying by 1 also changes nothing. So identity is all about what can you do that will change nothing. Inverse just basically means opposites. So when you're adding, opposites would be the opposite sign. So positive 8 and negative 8. If you add them together, you get 0. And you could do it in either order. I could put negative 8 plus positive 8. It doesn't have to be the positive and the negative. It could be negative and positive. The point is the point is, if it's the same number, but just different signs, it's going to cancel out and lead you to 0. Now with multiplying, it's the reciprocal, which if you don't know that word yet, that's okay. But remember, 8 could be written as a fraction, 8 over 1, and then if you flip that around, it becomes 1 over 8. So if you just take a number and flip it upside down, when you multiply them together, you'll get 1. So these are opposites in the sense that what's on top and bottom are opposite in each one. These are opposites in the sense that they are opposite signs, positive and negative. Now for the multiplicative property of 0, it just says if you multiply anything by 0, the answer is 0. I should have put some more room to that spot, sorry. So if you multiply anything by 0, the answer is 0. So I could put 1245, multiply it by 0, the answer is 0. And that's that. So let's look at these examples to see if we can figure out which properties they're talking about. So 1 says the sum of any number in 0. So this is where our section 1 is helpful. Remember, the word sum means adding. So we're adding a number and 0. So look through here and see if you can find the spot where we're adding a number and 0, and the result is the original number. Well, that would be that right there. So it's the identity property that that's talking about. Okay, number 2. Adding 0 to any number leaves it unchanged. Well, it looks like we're right back there. Adding 0 leaves it unchanged. So it's also the identity. Just so you know, our book will make a point to put an addition symbol next to it saying we're talking about additive identity. You don't have to specify as far as I'm concerned. As long as you get this property correct, you're good. Number 3. The sum of a number and its opposite. I see the word opposite, so that clues me in. We're talking about the inverse. The sum of a number and its opposite, so sum adding a number and its opposite is 0. So that is the inverse property. 4, the order. Oh, as soon as I see the word order, I know we're talking about commutative. The order in which two numbers are multiplied does not affect the product. So 5 times 7 and 7 times 5, same thing. So that's commutative. When 3 or more numbers are added, the way they are grouped, which we group them with parentheses, does not affect the sum. So that's the associative property. Talking about groups, you can group them differently and the result's the same. That's associative. The last one, the product of any number and its inverse. Wow, that one's so hard. They mention the word inverse. It's inverse. Okay, but you also see the product equal to 1. So the product of any number and its inverse is 1. Product equals 1. Okay, switching gears, one other thing they will have us do in this section is just combine like terms. Now, we talked about the order of operations previously. You should do what's in parentheses first. However, there are times there's actually nothing you can do inside the parentheses. C and 9 are not like terms. This has a C, this doesn't, so I can't combine them. So those parentheses actually don't matter at all. Now, I'm not going to write this step every time. I'm just doing it here to make sure you understand. They wrote parentheses, but they didn't mean anything because we can't combine C and 9, but we can combine 4 and 9. So we can say 4 plus 9 is 13, and that C will just stay C because there's nothing else it can be combined with. Okay, same idea here. 12 plus n we should look at first because it's in parentheses, but we can't combine those because one's a constant, meaning no variables. This one is a variable, so it can't be put together. But we can combine 12 plus 7 and get 19. And just in case you're curious, if you wrote c plus 13, that's fine too. Or if you wrote n plus 19, that's fine too. The order doesn't matter when you're multiplying or dividing, which is what we talked about up here with commutative. Number 3, same idea. X times 2, that's just 2x. Doesn't really change anything. But we can combine the 15 and the 2, because this is all being multiplied. This is implied 15 times x times 2. So 15 times 2 is 30, and then times x just puts an x with it. Now, it's not technically wrong to write x times 30, but while books will sometimes write things this way or this way when we're adding, you'll almost never see them put the number second and the variable first when they're multiplying. So I won't count it wrong if you do this, but I'm just telling you it'd be good to get in the habit when you're multiplying to put the number first and the variable second. Okay, same thing on number 4. The 3 and the 8 can be combined. 3 times 8 is 24. We multiply by the v and get 24v.